Hi ladies. Grace isn't just about how you walk or how your body looks in a dress. It's about how you exist in your body, how you inhabit your own skin with confidence, softness, and joy. That's the kind of magnetism that doesn't just catch a man's eye, it captivates his soul. From a psychologist's lens, and from one woman to another, here are 10 truths about how grace and embodiment create real attraction, and why any woman, at any age or shape, can master this subtle but powerful art. Self-acceptance is where real magic begins. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing not a checklist of flaws to fix, but a woman in full bloom. Not perfect, not filtered, not photoshopped by the impossible standards of beauty culture. Just you, in your skin, in your shape, breathing, existing, alive. That kind of presence is rare. And for a man tuned into real connection, it's irresistible. Self-acceptance isn't a final destination where you suddenly love everything about yourself. It's a practice, a daily whisper to your own reflection, I am enough, even now. It's refusing to shrink in conversations. It's walking with your shoulders back even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing not to punish yourself for soft arms, stretch marks, or weight gained during a hard year. Every woman has chapters her body has carried her through: heartbreak, joy, childbirth, exhaustion, reinvention. And when you learn to honor those stories instead of resenting the evidence of them, your whole aura changes. Men pick up on this subtly. They may not be able to name it, but they feel it. A woman who isn't waiting to be loved once she becomes better, but who already believes she's worthy, creates a gravitational pull. Why? Because she's not asking for validation. She's inviting you into a space where self-love is the atmosphere. She becomes comfort. She becomes heat. She becomes a place where a man can stop performing too, because her ease gives him permission to soften. When you love your body, your energy shifts. Your eyes soften. Your laugh deepens. You're no longer calculating angles or sucking in your stomach when you sit. You're being. And that shift, from performing to existing, is where real seduction lives. Not in the effort, but in the ease. Posture is a silent power statement. Before a woman opens her mouth, her body already tells a story. And posture, the way you carry yourself through the world, is often the first sentence. It's not about walking like a model or forcing elegance. It's about embodying a quiet, grounded confidence that speaks louder than any outfit, makeup look, or clever line. Stand in front of a mirror and lift your spine as if someone is gently pulling the crown of your head toward the ceiling. Let your shoulders roll back, not forced, just released. Let your collarbones open, your heart space shine. That single shift can change your mood, your thoughts, even your hormones. Psychologically, posture affects how we feel about ourselves. When we physically take up space, we reinforce to our brain, I belong here. And when a woman believes that, the room believes it too. Men are hardwired to respond to cues of both strength and softness. A woman with strong posture radiates authority, yes, but also sensuality. Because good posture is not stiff. It's fluid. A tall, relaxed spine paired with the grace of slow movement and an open chest says, I know who I am. I'm not afraid to be seen. There is nothing louder than a woman who walks into a room like she's allowed to take up space. She doesn't need your attention, which is exactly why you want to give it to her. Posture also shifts your energy from survival mode into presence. Slouching is protective. It's what we do when we want to disappear. But when you straighten, not in aggression but in ease, you signal, I'm here. I'm safe. I'm whole. That calmness doesn't just look good, it feels good to be around. It makes people want to lean in, literally and emotionally. When you begin to move through your days with regal posture, in the grocery store, at work, on a walk, you begin to embody grace, even when no one is watching. And grace, in its purest form, is power without force. It's leadership without noise. And in love, it's unforgettable. Move slowly. Move intentionally. Own the room. Speed is often mistaken for competence. Rushing is confused with productivity. But when a woman moves slowly, deliberately, not out of lethargy, but out of conscious choice, she instantly sets herself apart from the noise of the world. In a culture addicted to hustle and hurry, stillness is both a rebellion and a statement of inner power. Watch a woman walk into a room with calm assurance. Her steps aren't frantic. She's not scanning, searching, or second-guessing. She's grounded. Each gesture, each pivot of her head, each flick of her wrist, it's all imbued with intention. She takes her time because she knows she's worth waiting for. And the room senses that. Slowness becomes her spotlight. Moving slowly isn't about dramatics, it's about presence. It's about allowing your energy to arrive before your words do. Every pause becomes charge. Every movement becomes a statement. I am in no rush to prove anything. And that is the language of power, quiet, feminine power that doesn't grasp but draws in. A woman who is intentional with her body is communicating something ancient. Sensuality is not a performance, it's a pulse. Men often can't explain why they feel so mesmerized by a woman like this. But the answer is simple: she is attuned to herself. Her movements aren't dictated by external pressures. She moves for her. She doesn't lunge forward to meet energy, she holds her own and allows others to meet her pace. That shift, from chasing to receiving, creates mystery. A man instinctively wants to know more. He wants to be close enough to hear what her silence is saying. When you practice slow, deliberate movement, walking into a room, turning your head in conversation, reaching for your glass, touching your collarbone, you are embodying a woman who lives from her center. Not a woman who scrambles for space. Not a woman who explains her worth. A woman who already is. Slowness requires confidence. It takes strength to not fill every moment, every breath, every silence. But when you move with that kind of ownership, you don't have to say you're magnetic. The room already knows. Eye contact creates electricity. It begins with a glance, but not the kind meant to be polite or accidental. Real eye contact, the kind that lingers with a touch of curiosity and a flicker of emotion, is its own kind of seduction. A soft stare held for just 1 or 2 seconds longer than what's normal can electrify the space between two people. It is the oldest dance in human connection. I see you. Do you see me? The magic of eye contact lies in its contradictions. It's powerful but vulnerable, intimate but innocent, bold but delicate. A woman who meets your gaze without flinching doesn't need to say a word. Her eyes carry stories, questions, challenges. There is intrigue, invitation, permission. And it's not just about looking at someone. It's about looking into, letting your eyes soften, not widen, not harden, and allowing your expression to say, I'm here, fully. And I see you, too. That's a frequency men don't encounter often. In a world where people are half-present, constantly distracted by phones and thoughts and appearances, real eye contact becomes rare and electric. There is an art to this. It's not a stare down. It's not about control or confrontation. It's about timing. You hold his eyes just long enough to let your energy touch his, and then, you release. That release is just as important. That moment of looking away, with a slight smile, a tilt of the head, a subtle pause, invites curiosity. It makes him wonder, what was that? Did I imagine it? And he leans in, metaphorically or literally, to get it back. Eye contact is also how you communicate availability without words. A soft gaze can say, I'm open. A knowing glance across the room can say, I see you, and I like what I see. A spark passed in a brief moment of held eyes can stay in a man's mind far longer than a conversation. It takes courage to hold someone's gaze. It requires self-trust, inner stillness, and a bit of playfulness. But when you master it, when you allow your eyes to carry your feminine energy without apology, you become unforgettable. Because long after a man forgets the color of your dress or the sound of your voice, he will remember how your eyes made him feel. And sometimes, that's all it takes to begin a story. A smile is the most elegant invitation. There's a kind of smile that doesn't come from manners or performance. It rises from somewhere deeper, somewhere rooted in ease, joy, and self-connection. This is not the smile you paste on at work or offer to strangers in elevators. It's not forced. It's not calculated. It's the kind that appears when you're fully in your skin, when you catch your own reflection and think, I like who I am today. That smile, the unguarded, fully lived in one, is a form of feminine power that's rarely talked about but universally felt. When a woman smiles like this, she doesn't need to say, I'm confident, her face says it for her. And even more than confidence, it says joy. Not happiness as a performance, but joy as a frequency. That's the secret. Real smiles are felt before they're seen. They originate in the body, soften the eyes, relax the jaw, light up the cheekbones. And when they're real, they're magnetic. For men, this kind of smile is an open door. It's an invitation that doesn't demand, doesn't chase, it welcomes. It says, come closer. It's safe here, it's warm here, and it's disarming. In a world that trains people to protect, deflect, or posture, a genuine smile breaks down defenses. It communicates, I enjoy life, and you might enjoy it more beside me. But a true smile only comes from self-trust. When a woman is constantly analyzing herself, she can't smile like that. But when she lets go of control, of criticism, of the need to perfect, the smile returns. Think of the women who walk into a room and make it feel like the temperature just changed. It's not the hair or the clothes. It's the feeling they project. I'm happy here. In this room, in this body, in this life. That feeling is transmitted instantly through a smile. And the most powerful part? A real smile is contagious. It draws people in. It softens conversations. It creates ease in social dynamics. It tells a man, you can relax with me. I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to enjoy you. When used with intention, paired with eye contact, a pause in conversation, a glance over the shoulder, a smile can stop time. It doesn't beg for attention. It allows it. It creates space for chemistry to emerge. And it's the reason so many love stories begin not with words, but with a shared moment across a room. A smile that said everything without saying a single thing. Walk like you're dancing with the earth. There's something almost hypnotic about a woman who knows how to walk, not for speed, not for performance, but as if each step is a conversation with the ground beneath her. It's a kind of walking that isn't rushed or aggressive, but fluid, intentional, and aware. Her body sways in quiet rhythm, her feet land with softness and precision. She doesn't move to get somewhere, she moves to be somewhere. Think of the way a ballerina crosses a stage, or the way a cat pads silently into a room. There's no tension, no stomping, no apologetic shrinking. There's a full presence in every movement. A woman who walks like this sends a subconscious message to everyone around her. I'm here, and I'm not in a hurry to leave. Walking with grace doesn't require heels or a certain body type, it's a mindset, an awareness of how you take up space. It's the practice of moving as if your body is your home and the world is your dance floor. You're not rushing to the next thing. You're savoring this moment, this street, this hallway, this grocery aisle, as if it's worthy of your presence. When a woman walks like that, men don't just notice her, they feel her. She becomes a sensory experience. They register the calm in her stride, the subtle sway of her hips, the elegance in her posture, the grounded femininity in her pace. She's not clumsy or chaotic. She's not stiff or defensive. She walks as if her presence is a gift, and people respond accordingly. A graceful walk also creates internal shifts. It calms the nervous system. It helps you regulate your energy. It reminds you, moment by moment, that you're not racing anyone. That you're allowed to take your time. And the more you allow that, the more powerful you become. Because in a world that runs on speed and urgency, a slow, graceful walk is an act of sovereignty. It says, I refuse to be rushed. I move to the rhythm of my own life. And perhaps most importantly, walking with grace reconnects you to your body. You begin to notice how your hips move, how your weight shifts from heel to toe, how your arms swing. You start treating walking not as a means to an end, but as a dance. As a flirtation with gravity. As a ritual of self-expression. And that energy? That's what makes heads turn, not because you're seeking attention, but because you're in alignment with yourself. When you walk like you're dancing with the earth, you move through the world as a woman in harmony. Not a woman trying to fit in. A woman who owns every step she takes. Let your hands flirt before your words do. Long before you speak, your body has already begun a conversation, and your hands often speak the loudest. The way you brush a curl behind your ear, rest your fingers against your collarbone, or trace the rim of a wine glass. These gestures are not just physical habits, they're emotional cues. Subtle, fluid, effortless. They don't scream, they suggest. And that's where true feminine allure lives, not in declaration, but in implication. When your hands move with intention, they become extensions of your energy. They communicate softness or intrigue, openness or playfulness. When you gently adjust your necklace, slide your fingertips over your wrist, or lightly graze your shoulder, you're not just moving, you're telling a story. One he instinctively leans in to decode. But the key lies in how you move. A woman who touches her hair nervously sends one signal. A woman who does it slowly, with ease and self-awareness, sends another entirely. The difference isn't in the gesture, it's in the energy behind it. Confidence transforms the mundane into the magnetic. Self-consciousness can muddy even the most beautiful movements. But when your hands move because you feel good in your body, not because you're seeking attention, your gestures become irresistibly flirtatious. These micro-movements become especially powerful in moments of silence. In the pause between sentences, in the gap between eye contact and words, your hands can say, "I'm present. I'm open. I'm comfortable." That's what draws a man in. Not just how you look, but how fully you occupy yourself. How you move without needing to prove. You don't need to perform or exaggerate. Sensuality lives in the small things. A slow stretch of the fingers. A delicate way you reach for a fork. The way your palm rests gently on your hip or thigh. These are not tactics, they're truths of embodiment. You are not trying to be seductive. You are seductive when you give yourself permission to be. So let your hands speak. Let them wander without fear. Let them express what's too nuanced for words. Because often, it's not your voice that makes the first impression, it's the way your fingertips glide across a surface. It's the way your touch lingers. And that, more than any line or clever phrase, is the moment that stays in his mind long after you've walked away. Your scent is the soul of your presence. A scent is invisible, and yet, it's the most emotionally evocative part of how we remember people. Long after a man forgets your voice or the exact words you said, he may still remember the way you smelled, in a hallway, in a hug, on his shirt hours later. That scent becomes a signature, a story, a trace of you that lingers when everything else has gone quiet. This isn't about drowning yourself in perfume or following trends. It's about choosing a scent that feels like you. One that enhances, not covers. Your natural skin scent, your shampoo, the faintest hint of vanilla or sandalwood, these become part of your sensory identity. They make your presence three-dimensional. They create memory anchors in the minds of others. Men are especially sensitive to scent when it's tied to emotion. A brief hug during a shared laugh. A gentle breeze that carries your fragrance across a conversation. A jacket he lent you that now smells like you. These moments may seem small, but they create deep, almost primal impressions. Why? Because scent bypasses logic. It goes straight to memory. Straight to emotion. A well-chosen scent doesn't overpower. It whispers. It should feel like a secret, like something he can only fully notice when he's close enough to lean in. The goal isn't for your fragrance to enter the room before you do. The goal is for it to make someone want to stay a little longer once you're there. And the most intoxicating scent of all? The one that arises when you feel good in your own body. Your natural skin chemistry, heightened by health, hydration, softness, and the subtle products you choose, creates something entirely unique. There is no mass-market perfume that can compete with the aura of a woman who smells like comfort, sensuality, and self-love all at once. Let your scent be part of your presence. Let it trail behind you like a whispered memory. When he catches it later, in a room, on his pillow, in his thoughts, he won't be able to explain why he misses you. He'll just feel something he wants to return to. And in that invisible trace, you've already become unforgettable. Wear clothes that reveal, not hide. True style doesn't scream, and it certainly doesn't beg for approval. It whispers. It knows. And the most powerful thing a woman can wear isn't the trendiest outfit or the sexiest dress, it's intention. It's the quiet but bold decision to choose clothing that doesn't hide her, fix her, or apologize for her body, but instead celebrates it. That's not vanity. That's reverence. You don't need to shrink to be seen. You don't need to blend in or armor yourself in black layers or oversized fabric to feel safe. You need to reveal, not with exposed skin for attention's sake, but with silhouette, texture, and movement. Clothes that follow your body without clinging in fear. Clothes that understand you're a living sculpture, not a project to be camouflaged. Every curve, every line, every angle is worthy of softness and shape. When you wear something that fits you just right, not tight to constrain, not baggy to disappear, it changes how you carry yourself. Your shoulders drop. Your waist defines itself. Your stride lengthens. That's what happens when your clothes say yes to you. You stop thinking about pulling or adjusting or hiding. You just are. And when you feel that kind of ease in what you wear, it communicates something deep to others. I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to be seen. Men notice this, but not in the way fashion magazines suggest. It's not the cut of the dress or the length of the hem. It's how alive a woman looks when she's dressed for herself, not to impress, but to express. That confidence creates allure, because a woman who enjoys her body enough to dress it with love is already magnetic. She's not broadcasting need, she's transmitting pleasure. It's also about fabric, how it moves, breathes, and hugs. A silk blouse that drapes over the collarbone. A high-waisted skirt that defines the waist without pinching. A pair of jeans that sit on the hips like they were made for you. These aren't just clothes. They're tools for embodiment. They say, this is me, and I'm not hiding. Style doesn't demand a specific body type. Every body type can be radiant when it's treated with appreciation. When it's clothed in pieces that say, this shape is mine. And it's worthy of beauty. Clothing becomes an extension of your story, not a costume to pretend you're someone else. When you get dressed not to disappear, but to reveal your essence, people respond differently. You no longer fade into the background. You move through the world like a woman who owns her space, and looks damn good doing it. Tell yourself, I deserve to be loved. The most transformational belief a woman can hold isn't about beauty, intelligence, or charm. It's this: I am worthy of love. Without qualification, without delay. Not once I lose 10 pounds, not once I fix the past, not once I prove my value. But now, right now, as I am. That belief isn't arrogance. It's not entitlement. It's the quiet foundation beneath all truly magnetic women. It's the unshakable root system that allows you to flirt without fear, to speak without shrinking, to walk into a room without needing permission. Because when you believe, deeply, fully, that you are worthy of love, you stop chasing it. You stop molding yourself for it. You become the source, not the seeker. Every glance, every smile, every step becomes infused with this invisible, radiant energy. I don't need to convince you. I already belong to myself. And ironically, that's exactly what makes others want to come closer. Love gravitates towards self-love. Not the curated kind, but the kind that says, I know I'm not perfect, and I still choose myself every single day. You begin to move differently when you carry this truth in your body. You say no with softness and yes with conviction. You stop performing. You stop pretending. You don't apologize for your needs or your boundaries or your emotions. You no longer see love as something to earn, but something to receive, naturally, easily, like breath. And this belief reshapes your presence. It rewrites your body language. You lean in without fear of being too much. You make eye contact that says, I see you, but I don't need you to complete me. You smile because you want to, not because you're trying to be liked. Your energy changes, and the world adjusts around it. This affirmation, I deserve to be loved, is not just mental. It lives in the body. It softens your jaw, relaxes your shoulders, grounds your feet. You stop performing to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. And that's when the right kind of love, the deep, lasting, reverent kind, begins to notice you. Because it's drawn not to perfection, but to truth. And your truth is this: you were never too much. You were never not enough. You were always lovable, exactly as you are. Grace isn't a performance. Grace doesn't beg. It doesn't over-explain. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or shout to be acknowledged. Grace simply is. It exists in the in-between, the way you exhale when no one's watching, the way your spine curves in stillness, the way your hand rests gently on your chest when you speak from your heart. It's not about seduction, although it's deeply sensual. It's not about charm, though it draws people in. Grace is the art of being fully in your body, without apology, without armor, and without the need to be more or less than you already are. You've probably seen this in other women. She walks into a room, not with forced confidence, but with quiet assurance. She isn't posturing, she isn't performing. She just is. Her grace isn't learned in a mirror, it's lived. It's the way her breath fills her belly when she speaks her truth. It's the softness in her voice when she knows she doesn't have to fight to be heard. It's the way she listens, not with silence, but with presence. Grace isn't manufactured, it's uncovered. It's what remains when you stop trying to impress and start living from your own rhythm. You begin to notice how your body feels rather than how it looks. You become aware of how the ground feels beneath your feet, how your clothes rest against your skin, how your energy shifts when you slow down and simply arrive in your own life. That's grace, not movement meant to please others, but movement that begins with you. The woman who lives in her body with comfort is magnetic not because she performs, but because she doesn't need to. And men? They don't always know what they're responding to, but they feel it. There's something in the way a graceful woman turns her head, how she pauses in conversation without rushing to fill the silence, how her touch feels like intention rather than obligation. There's something in her presence that whispers instead of shouts, and it gets under the skin. Because in a world where people are always performing, grace feels real. Grace feels safe. Grace feels unforgettable. So how do you cultivate it? You don't add more. You subtract. You subtract comparison. You subtract self-correction. You subtract the tight grip on control. You start listening to your body, moving with it instead of against it. You make space for stillness. You give yourself permission to be unhurried, unfiltered, and unapologetically here. Grace grows in that space. It expands when you stop trying so hard to be seen, and instead choose to see yourself. Feel it now. Pull your shoulders back, not in pride, but in presence. Let your spine lengthen. Let your hands relax. Breathe deeply. Then reread every trait we've explored. Let them move from your mind into your body. Ask yourself, gently, which of these are already alive in me? Which just need permission to come forward? Because grace isn't something you learn. It's something you remember. It's something that's already within you, waiting for you to believe that you're allowed to move through the world like you belong in it, because you do. Let your grace speak. You don't have to chase the right person. You don't have to convince them. Just embody who you already are. And trust. The one who's meant for you will recognize that language. Because grace is never loud, but it is always heard.